Agentic commerce in 2026 will be mostly real because adoption is growing.
Agentic commerce in 2026 will be mostly a hype because it's not crystallized out how things will work.
So I think agentic commerce in 2026 will be real, but there's going to be an oxymoron. The more real it gets, the more invisible it will become. Agentic systems will not replace payments, and I think this is something that we need to clarify. They will just remove the visible parts of them of the payments, but the transaction still needs to happen, and you need to have the funding, the authentication, the settlement. So what you're going to see disappearing are the manual steps in between. So how you choose a method, how do you approve screens, how you re-enter your credentials. So these steps will be handled automatically. And this is exactly the reason why intelligence is not going to be about building new rails, right? The rails that we have already move money. So it's the decision making that has to change. And for this shift to work, you need three pieces to come together. The first one is that you need to understand the intent. So this is the new layer. So payments today react to a transaction request. In an agentic setup, you're going to have the system. The system needs to know the purpose of the purchase and what are the constraints. So the budget, the timing, etc. The second thing is you need the smarter payment decisions. So today, for example, we risk-check today, we do this with fixed rules. If you have an intelligent layer, these choices, they need to adapt based on the actual results. To give you an example, if you have an account-to-account payment done yesterday and it was very fast and the cost was less, the system based on this might choose to do the same tomorrow. And then the third one is the execution. So the execution must be seamless. It doesn't matter if you have a good decision unless you can execute it very fast in the correct way. And that's where we need to connect, let's say, the identity, the execution. It needs to happen with the rails in the right place.
Agentic commerce is shifting payment decision making from humans to AI agents, and it will create a big opportunity by 2030. However, at this moment, building trust will require incremental adoption and transparent protocols over the next couple of years. At this moment, they're not there. It's not clear for everybody what they need to do and where the liability lies. It is not replacing the existing payments layer. It's just as intelligence on top of it, and on top of orchestration and other rails. It will optimize payment flows, approvals, and potentially risk management. But behind the scenes, the fintechs, infrastructure providers, and banks are quietly building their agentic tools, their agentic frameworks. Advances in different technology could further enhance the experience, which will drive real-time optimization of AI-driven payments at scale.
So as agentic commerce emerges as a consumer channel, merchants must manage a new payment layer that sits above their existing infrastructure. And this layer creates significant new challenges. Firstly, there's an integration burden. So there have already been several different agentic commerce protocols announced, whether that's from the platforms themselves, such as the Agentic Commerce Protocol ACP from OpenAI, or whether it's from the networks, such as the Trusted Agent Protocol from Visa or AgentPay from MasterCard. There are almost more protocols in the market today than you could count on two hands. And this creates a heavy integration burden for merchants to ensure that they're compatible with all of these different frameworks and able to interface with agents regardless of the protocol that they might be using. Second of all, each of these protocols represents significant data leakage for a merchant. So today, merchants interact with consumers across e-commerce, mobile app, social channels, and they benefit from rich insight into the customer because it is indeed the customer browsing their website. When an agent browses your website, the behavior appears autonomous, it doesn't look like a legitimate customer, and the agent acts as a smokescreen masking a lot of the underlying customer identity information. And this complicates the process of making an accurate risk decision as a merchant as to, do I accept a transaction from this agent, or could it potentially be a fraudster leveraging an agent to act on their behalf? And then thirdly, there's a divergence in the payment credentials that agents might use. Already, we're seeing Visa and MasterCard talking about the concept of agentic network tokens as part of their protocol. And we see OpenAI and Stripe partnering on a shared payment token, a new form of PCI token that may be used. We see Perplexity using one-time use virtual prepaid cards. And even Coinbase with their X402 protocol is envisaging a future where agents shop using stablecoins. So merchants have extra complexity in terms of how do I authorize the payment with these various different credentials as well.